Hey guys, today we're going to answer the question that every single homeowner, soon to be seller, I don't know, maybe everybody in Washington County is asking, are St. George home prices crashing? Guys, Jeremy Larkin. This is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. I've got my good friend who I haven't seen, who, by the way, I have a gift for you upstairs. You don't know this. Before you leave, don't leave. We have another meeting after this. I've got Carl Wright of R1 Appraisals. By the way, Carl, I've never asked you in all the years, where did R1 come from?
So it's my grandpa's cattle brand.
Oh,
I've never told you that story.
I don't know if you have. I don't think you have.
So my business partner, Nick Lyman, and I, we started R1 Appraisals in March of 2008, which is the worst time to jump into the real estate market in the history of the world.
Prices were crashing.
Prices were terrible. They were absolutely crashing at that time. And so we were kind of, Nick and I have been lifelong friends, and we wanted something that commemorated our heritage. And crazy story, his third great grandpa and my third great grandpa were missionary companions.
I'm counting back.
Yes. So they were missionary companions.
These guys were out preaching the gospel.
Yeah, they were out preaching the gospel down in San Bernardino. They helped settle the San Bernardino Valley together. And so we found this out. And so we wanted a way to commemorate our heritage a little bit. And it has a dual meaning. So R1 Appraisals is my grandpa's cattle brand. Mm-hmm. And it also means R1 residential zoning, which we specialize in residential appraisals.
Correct.
So it had the double meaning. So we're like, yep, that fits. Let's run with it. And it's been that for 22 years now, almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while, dude. I mean, there has been, you and I have watched Mr. R1 Appraisals. And you know, one of the things I want to talk about as we get this show going is the difference before we get into the nitty-gritty and we answer that question, are home prices crashing? If they're not crashing, are they falling? What's happening? I want folks to understand, Carl, the difference between an appraisal, an appraiser, and just a realtor. You know, but what is the difference? So people understand.
Yeah. So I mean, the difference between a real estate agent and an appraiser is we are valuation specialists.
Yeah.
A realtor really specializes in creating relationships with people.
Correct.
They're really good people. They know how to talk to people. They know how to maintain relationships. Us appraisers, we're just valuation specialists.
Yeah, you're the nerds.
We're the nerds.
And you know,
we're the nerds.
Realtors handle the marketing, right, and the sale side of the process, right? You know, finding a buyer, negotiating a contract, navigating the contract, to close.
Yeah. So I would say the realtors are the ultimate negotiators, and we are the ultimate price valuation.
Tell me, and this is something I want to talk about because I already love where this is going. Because I don't want you to answer yet, but I'm going to allude, because I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, to something which is we get a lot of, well, I had an appraisal, people will say, right? So today I want to talk about if you had an appraisal on your home before today, in the past, what that means, right? Because people need to understand, right? Because often they get this appraisal in their hand and they're like, well, this is gospel. So from a licensing perspective, we actually don't have the same licensing that you guys do.
Correct.
What does that look like for you guys?
So to get your appraiser license, it requires you have to have a bachelor's degree in any field or an associate's degree in a specialized field like real estate or accounting or something along that line. So you have to have some sort of degree, and then you also have to have a 2,000 hours of apprenticeship under an appraiser.
Love this part more than anything for our listeners, guys. You know, the biggest problem I see in the real estate market for realtors, the licensing is way too slim. Yeah. And if, you might have a consumer out there going, why would he say this on the air? Say it on the air. I've said this thousands of times. This is not new. They don't require enough of realtors. They don't require an apprenticeship. So one of the things, for instance, especially if you're a new agent or you're an agent that sold, 0 to 6 homes in the last year and you're trying to get yourself going, one of the things that we do is we basically create the apprenticeship at the Larkin Group, right? We run them through what's called agent launch. It's a 90-day, so I don't know how many hours that is, but assuming they come in and work 40 hours a week, it's a few hours, right? 160 times 3. So, but we don't have that.
Right.
2,000, we're 120 hours of school, 120 hours of school. You guys have a 2,000-hour apprenticeship doing what? Like, what is an apprenticeship?
I mean, I take them through the whole process. So I've trained several people.
And by the way, make sure you're close to that mic, only because I want to make sure I can't tell whether you're close or not on my side.
So I've trained several people, and that's kind of what our MO is at R1 Appraisals, is that I bring guys in and I train them for, it takes about 2 years. The apprentice is about 2 years long. And I take them from how to start the appraisal process from A to Z. I teach them about the business aspect of things, on how to run your business, how to market, how to do those things. And then I take those appraisers that I've trained and we open up areas over the United States. So we have offices in Boise, Northern Utah, here obviously in St. George, Mesquite, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Phoenix. Dude, and so we've grown our brand to, we're hoping to take over the Western United States and have a presence in all the Western United States here soon.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
So by the way, guys, you can reach us, the Larkin Group, if you have any questions. And, we're obviously, we help people. Here's what I say, Carl, to folks is we help people manage their wealth in real estate. That's buying, selling, investing. Do I sell now? Do we hold on? And we're going to get into this question. Are home prices crashing, falling, adjusting, healing? It's a term that I've thrown around. It's actually real estate market's healing.
I actually like that.
So, but I got Carl Wright here, R1 Appraisal. Carl, before we go any further, if somebody wanted a third-party appraisal, because obviously banks order them from you when folks are getting loans.
Yeah.
But if somebody said, hey, I need an appraisal on my home, how would they reach you? I'm going to put that out now.
Thank you. I appreciate that opportunity. There's many reasons why people get an appraisal. The most common, obviously, is when you buy a house or refinance. The bank is going to order the appraisal. But a lot of people can order their appraisal on their own. I do a lot of appraisals for estate planning. Say mom and dad passed away and you're inheriting their house. You need to get an appraisal if it's held in a trust. You have to get an appraisal. So I do a lot of that type of work, divorce situations and things like that. So the easiest way to get a hold of us is my cell phone's 435-773-2429. Maybe you can put that up on the website.
Yeah.
You can also just visit our website at www.r1appraisal.net.
And that's the letter R, the number one.
Number one. That's correct.
And, for us, the Larkin Group, you can reach us at gostgeorge.com, GOSTGeorge.com. And one of the things that I always remind people, you can just Google any of us, right? So if you're like, well, I heard Carl Wright on the radio at the Larkin Group. He's just a cool appraiser. Like, he has these really incredible Ray-Ban glasses on. They are pretty dope. Like, how do I get in touch with this guy? Honestly, you don't remember? Just Google. My whole world is Google. As a matter of fact, my whole world is I go to the Google Maps. That's how I find everything.
Right.
Actually, it's Maps.
It's so nice. Yeah.
GoStGeorge.com for us, R1Appraisal.com for them. All right. So let's get into answering this question. Are prices crashing, falling, adjusting? What's the short answer if they're crashing? In one word.
Let me.
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Okay. No, they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not tumbling. Are they healing? I would say there's a little bit of healing going on, but they're not crashing. Let me give you some statistics. We are moving from a lot of people will say, are we in a buyer's market or are we in a seller's market? And that's usually a short way of saying, are values increasing or values decreasing? Excuse me. Excuse me. Right now,
when this guy really gets into what he loves, which is talking about the value of homes, it's a little emotional for him.
Get a little emotion behind it. We have moved from a seller's market to a buyer's market. I did an analysis. We do a lot of market valuations, right, every day, and we look at not just what things are selling for, but we look at how many active listings there are, what it's competing against, what it would sell for, et cetera, et cetera. And so right now we have, if I compare the first 2 quarters of 2024 to the first 2 quarters of 2025. So January 1st to today.
Year to date or year to date?
Year to date, year over year. There's a 16% increase in the number of active listings on the market compared from 2024 to 2025. Yeah. So 16%, that's a pretty big number. Yeah. So to put it in numbers, last year we had 3,086 active listings, and this year we have 3,584 listings.
Yeah. Okay? And you're pulling in land, lots.
Nope. That is just single family residence. Okay. That's just single family residence. If I did.
Yeah. We're talking total listings taken year to date. Okay.
Yes.
Good. I want to make sure that I'm on the same page.
If I did total, then we're only a 13% increase. But that, townhomes, I'm eliminating it. That was just single families. That first statistic was just single family. Okay.
You know what's interesting, and I'm going to throw something in here. Have we talked to you? As Jesse told you, we're using this data source called Area Pro.
No,
I'm going to show you today when we get into. Yeah. We actually have a meeting with Carl after this to talk about evaluation on a multi-million-dollar piece of land, 38 acres near Sand Hollow. Mm-hmm. We're working with a client on. So we're going to have a radio show and then a meeting. And Area Pro is kind of interesting because it'll give. It's not even close to as granular as the MLS, but it will summarize it. So, for instance, look at your list of sale. So, so you're saying there are 16% more properties that have come on the market are available
that
this
are currently
year.
Active, that are listed
currently active compared to last year.
Correct.
So, what's happened with sales?
So the sales.
I mean, like if you would hope that sales had gone up the same amount. They haven't.
They actually have gone up more.
Oh, have they?
Yes.
Okay, I want to know what the number is.
Okay, so if last year the number of under contracts, same period of time, we had 2,131.
Oh, okay. Total number of sales, yes. This is true. Total number of sales is exact.
So we've actually...
Give me the numbers, 2,100 and what?
2,131 under contracts. And right now we have 2,185.
Okay.
So we've gone up 2%.
Correct. And so here's what I was alluding to, because I just confused our listeners. What I'm getting at is, but we have not sold enough property to match the 16% increase in inventory.
Correct.
Which is causing what to happen?
It's causing values to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, people are asking me right now, so I can totally see how we may have confused people. People will ask me, they ask me, I only speak for myself. I don't speak for Carl, right? Do you think values will be higher or lower in a year from now than today? I absolutely believe they'll be lower.
I believe they'll be lower.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
just see it.
It's driven by a lot of things. Interest rates, that's a big factor. Mm-hmm. And you know, the Fed said that they're going to lower interest rates. We haven't seen that yet this year. They've been pretty steady. They've actually gone up from last year. And so
thanks, guys.
The mortgage rate, the key interest rate may have come down slightly, but mortgage interest rate, which is tied to different things, different variables, has actually gone up this year. So yeah, I believe that in a year from now, values will have decreased a little bit more.
So year over year, where do you think they're to? I mean, how much have they come down?
They've only come down 2% from last year. So our average sales price last year was $700,000. Right now they're $682,000. So it's come down slightly.
Do you feel like I do? But I want what you're seeing as a real estate agent who's actually like selling homes. I find pockets, specific types of properties where I feel like there have been like greater impacts. Do you see that as an appraiser?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. There's so many different segments of the market that some are hot, some are not, right?
Like, so for me, short-term rentals, just getting blasted.
Yep. They're sitting on the market longer and longer because we have so much inventory in that product, right? But townhomes, hotcakes.
Yep.
They've actually gone up.
Isn't that
in
interesting?
Value in the last year.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, because they're affordable, right? That people want to buy a home, but that's the most affordable thing they can buy is a townhome.
Yeah, I have a guy downtown St. George, Bob. We've worked with him, sold multiple townhomes for him. Came to me 6 months ago. I'm actually going to go look at the home today. Came to me 6 months ago and said, "Hey, I'm going to sell another one of these. It's Royal Village is the townhomes." And I mean, there's nothing exciting about this complex, so to speak, right? What's exciting is it's affordable. But when I walked in 6 months ago, it was just an absolute train wreck. Now, no one was in it, but I mean, it was not only original from like 1984, it was hammered.
Yeah.
Just hammered. Empty. And I said, why don't you renovate it? So he put about 50 grand in. And he called me 2 days ago and he said, I tried to sell it to my next door, the renters next door. And you know how many of those actually close.
Yeah.
Very few of the tenant next door wants to buy the home ever close. And he said, I want you to go look at it. And I'm actually really excited to walk through to see the renovation. And here's what I told him. You just said it, Carl. I said, Bob, I got great news. What you have, the people want. What you have, the people need. I think this thing's probably 3.25. It's about 1,100 square feet. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, literally like a brand new townhome.
Yeah.
Other than it's not a brand new townhome.
Yeah. Yeah.
People want. So what you're saying is, look, we're seeing this in nightly rentals. I'm seeing it everywhere in short-term rentals. There are some pockets. Tell me what else you're seeing in your data, because you've got so much phenomenal research that you pulled in here today.
Yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about, is just that values are not crashing. They're coming down slightly, which means if you're a seller right now, don't wait for your price reductions. Mm-hmm. And I want to answer one of the questions that you had earlier about, what is an appraisal and how does it compare to a real estate agent's opinion of value?
Yeah, I've got a licensed appraisal and they said my homes were 682 and I'll say, when was that? 1.5 years ago.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
So an appraisal is really only good for about 3 months. And an appraisal is only good as the data that's out there. And if your house hasn't been listed on the market, we're going to make some assumptions about marketing time and about how long we think it's going to take. What really dictates the value of your home is the market, the people out there.
Yeah,
right?
Like Carl can go in and appraise your home, and he will do wonderfully in his team. But here's what we know: buyers don't care.
No, they don't, and they'll dictate what your house is worth, right? And as an appraiser, it's not a bad idea to get an appraisal up front on your home if you don't know what the value, or if your real estate agent doesn't. It may be a trickier home, right? That's when we come in and because we're valuation specialists, and so we can come in and help you with a home that may be a little more unique to the market. But what will really dictate the value of your home is get it exposed to the market.
Correct.
And let's see how the general population responds to your home. If you're not seeing any action on your home, if you're not seeing any listing or showings on your home, what does that mean, Jeremy?
That means the market and the agents, and most importantly, the buyers, are saying, yeah, we don't think it's worth it.
It's not worth it, right? So what is that? What does the agent or what does the seller need to do at that point?
You amend that price.
You amend the price. You bring it down a little bit until you get some showings. Then people say, okay, that makes sense to me. And so now you start to get, I did an appraisal yesterday on a beautiful home out in Cayenta. It's been listed. It started at $3.5 million. It's been on the market over 300 days, and they've steadily decreased the value. It's now under $3 million. It's still way too high, still priced too high, because it's just it's a smaller home. It's not, it's a smaller home. The price per square foot is astronomical.
It's out of whack.
And it just doesn't fit within the context of what the market is doing. So they wanted me to come do an appraisal to help reconcile what the sellers and what the agent thinks it's worth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so we came in and we were way under that. We were like just barely over 2 million. So we're $1 million off in price. And but that's what will dictate what the market is worth.
So Carl, I want to talk about a couple of rules of thumb. Number one, in the price reduction game. So if you're a seller and you're trying to get ahead of the market, I want you to think about when you were a child and you were playing with your buddies at the park or at the school or wherever, and the ball got away from you, but it was kind of rolling like downhill just a little bit.
Yeah.
You would kind of, everyone can envision you're lunging with your foot.
And it keeps rolling.
You have to get in front of the ball.
You do.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you've got to get in front of the ball. What we're doing in this market is we're getting in front of the ball. That's number one. Number two, the number of reductions are not necessarily an indicator of crashing values. Carl Wright here with R1 Appraisals. He's told us values are down about 2% year over year. Well, I mean, that's a number, but a price reduction is not an indicator of values following. A price reduction is, first of all, it's only an indicator that the home was priced too high for the market. And right, that's factually what it is. And then a rule of thumb that we use, Carl, is 2 to 5% reduction.
Right.
So I've noticed that anything less than a 2% reduction will not make a meaningful impact on the buyer's financial situation. So, like we could just say it's just 2 to 5%. That's all I can tell people is 2 to 5%. So 2% on a $500,000 home is $10,000.
Yeah.
Right. People be like, well, what if I just take it from 500 to 497? That will do one thing. It will bump it back maybe onto people's radar, but realize how buyers work is once they've looked through all the inventory, and by the way, they look at it like 50 times online, they remember and they're like, yeah, no, I already know that home. That's the home. Buyers name homes.
It's got
that's the White House.
That's the blue.
That's the big house.
That's the blue front door.
The blue door house.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it. 2 to 5%. Now we have 4 minutes. Our time's short. 2 to 5% to make a rule of thumb, right? My last rule of thumb is the 6 pricing misconceptions. Your home is not worth what you want, what you need, what you paid, what another agent or realtor says, what it would cost to replace today, or what an appraiser says. It's only worth what?
What the market will say.
What the market will support.
Yeah.
Give us how much did prices fall from 07 to in our final 3 minutes? How much did prices fall from say because it was really 07 when they started falling.
Yeah, it was.
How much did they fall from 07 to 2011? Do you think? Just off the top of your head.
I'm guessing between 40 and 50% at least.
Do we have market conditions that would even allow that to happen right now?
Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah. The biggest difference meaning is that buyers at that time were not actually qualified for the properties they were in.
Right.
Right.
And there was a lot of hesitation and fear. There was a lot of fear like, the values are just, and so values are just dropping so fast. I need to just sell right now. And so there was a lot of short sales, a lot of foreclosures. A lot of.
Are we seeing many foreclosures?
Hardly any.
Almost zero, dude.
Yeah, almost zero.
What's a parting shot? What's like one thing that, you have the microphone that you would say as a professional appraiser that's literally they've appraised tens of thousands of properties.
Utah is a great place to live, and we will never Utah. There's so many people. I did a study yesterday. This is an interesting. Guess how much we have increased since 1991 in the greater St. George area.
I'm not even going to guess. I want you to. What was the average house then? $100,000?
About that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from 1991 to 2025, that's a long time.
Yeah.
We have increased in the greater St. George area 650%. 650%. So is it a good thing to buy real estate? Yes, absolutely. If it makes sense to buy, then buy. Because values are going to be up and they're going to be down, but over time we're always going to be increasing here in Utah. It's just a great place to live.
I love this parting shot, Carl. The data point that Jesse and I have shared on so many episodes. There's not a 10-year period in the last 40 years in which home values didn't net go up.
Right.
They rise and fall in cycles, and we're in a downward pressure cycle. But they are up 650% since 91, when I was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. Guys, Carl Wright, R1 Appraisal. Just find him at R1 Appraisal. That's R and the number 1 appraisal.com, or Google him. Find us, the Larkin Group, at gostgeorge.com. We're with KW Realty. We have to be legal and say that. Or Google the Larkin Group.
Hey, thanks for having me on. You're an amazing
dude.
You're an amazing man. I'm so excited for you and what you've got going on right now. You have this different light about you, and I love it.
Dude, you're so good.
I love it.
And we wore almost matching shirts. Guys, I hope you'll watch this episode, and I hope you'll share it with friends. It'll be on YouTube in the next, 48 hours. So there you go. Jeremy Larkin, Carl Wright, over and out.